Take two. We're going to wait till her to hop on. I've never done this before with somebody else, so bear with me. But once Kate hops on, I will invite her to join us. I'm really excited about this today, guys. Childbirth is no joke, and it's something we deserve to be taken care of afterwards. All right, let's see if I can invite her yet. All right, there she is. Hello.
Hi.
We're live. Yay.
Yes.
Sorry.
Technology, so good.
It's so good. Today I sound like a 2,000-year-old smoker, so that's awesome.
I know. This is mom life when you have children who are just petri dishes of infections, and we are obviously the byproduct or the collateral damage.
It's like not are we sick, it's how sick are we.
Yeah.
But I'll give it a couple minutes for some people to hop on. But I was thinking maybe to start with, you could kind of like introduce yourself and tell a little bit about like you and how you came into this wonderful path.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. So I have been a physio for about 15 years now, and I got into pelvic later in my career. And basically I love it. I do have 2 children, and they definitely stemmed a lot of my interest in the area, because like a lot of moms, I ended up having a lot of problems after my children. I probably didn't notice it as much after the first, but then after the second, I just became more active. I think I didn't notice in between because I just didn't return to activity the way I did after the second. But I had an 11-pound, 5-ounce child as my first, and that was my introduction to pelvic health, really. So I knew about perineal massage, but I had limited reach to get there. I could barely wipe myself in that last month. So you know, I know professionals recommend that maybe your partner does it. And I just wasn't, like, I just couldn't see that. I wouldn't let my husband massage my shoulders. I couldn't picture him massaging anything else down there. And I just thought there has to be a better way. But it wasn't until 6 years later that I got into pelvic that I sort of looked at a couple of things and put 2 and 2 together and thought, there's no reason why we don't have a tool, something to make this easier for women, make it a little more enticing to do it. Because that's the other thing is, when do mothers have private time?
Exactly.
As I can see your child on your lap, this is so there's no private time.
No.
But I think the one private time that we do get that we maybe not take advantage of, and I know we talk about it a lot, is that time in the shower. If we can just get into the shower, it is ours. It is those, maybe it's a minute, maybe it's 5 minutes. Sometimes you can sneak 15 and you think, I'm never getting out. But that's sort of the time that I foresee women just checking in with their pelvic health, because it's easy to do. Sometimes you can even just sit in the tub, which is this really nice relaxed pose. And it's the time to sort of see what our pelvic floor feels like. And that's something I think is a little bit new for women to explore, because we don't often check in with that area unless there's a problem. And I think my goal and my mission is to change that a little bit, because having an awareness as to what your pelvic floor is doing is an abundance of education that we can provide our own selves. And then it seems a lot less alarming when something does happen. Right?
No, exactly. No, after the twins, nobody even said the word pelvic floor to me. Like, I had twins. I carried them until they were like, I was 8.5 months. I was 37 weeks. And nobody even said anything to me afterwards about anything about pelvic floor. And then after Charlie, Like nobody even looked. Nobody was like, "Hey, is it still there?" Like,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
was like, "Is it still there? I don't even know."
Yeah. And that's really, I mean, I think we see the memes on Instagram where, it counts up how many appointments we have before we give birth, like how
Yeah.
often professionals want to check in with us,
Yeah.
and then versus have the baby, pelvic floor is left a little bit rough for wear, and you have one appointment, and they're like, "How are you?"
Yes.
You're like, "I think I'm good.
Yeah. I don't know. How should
You
I
should
be?
know. Maybe you want to check."
Yeah.
So and then we're sent on our way, and that's sort of the point that they're like, "Well, you can go back to using tampons," and like, yeah, you can totally have sex.
Oh.
Just go right back to it. And we're not prepared.
No.
We are not prepared for any of those things.
And neither are our partners.
No, neither are our partners, and they're kind of like, "Can't like, are you ready? Do you think you could?" And like they have needs. Like we get it. We have
Yeah.
needs too. I'm sure it's not from a lack of desire, but
Right.
I think what happens in our arousal state is that we probably want to. We do miss our husbands, kind of, maybe
Yeah.
at that stage. And then, but then the fear and the anxiety kicks in about how well is my pelvic region holding up. And as soon as fear and anxiety creep into any sort of like sexual arousal state, pretty sure that's like, wah, wah, wah.
Yeah. Death knell.
So I think that women need to prepare that area a little bit more.
Yeah.
And as much as we do perineal massage before preparing our pelvic floor, after we have that baby, I think women assume, and maybe this is a little bit of the patriarchy, a little bit of, what we've been told, but, we are not left, flapping in the wind.
Yeah. On the tower.
My physio background is really more sports and orthopedic care. And I have never seen a body part that has undergone orthopedic surgery that just totally relaxes.
Yeah.
They all tighten up. Our bodies want to protect ourselves. We want to guard an area that has undergone some physical trauma. And the body doesn't differentiate between trauma that is supposed to heal you, like an orthopedic surgery, or a trauma that's supposed to harm you. It's all just trauma.
Yeah.
And so we're going to protect, we're going to guard. We get very tense around that area because we don't want anything else to hurt it.
Right.
And childbirth, as beautiful as it is, it's a little bit of trauma.
A little
bit. A little bit. I'll tell you what 11 pounds, 5 ounces will do. So those muscles actually really, they tense up, they guard, they are, they get really tight. So, when we know from a really known study in 2015 that 86% of women reported having sexual pain with their first sexual encounter after birth. 28% of those women went on to continue having pain with sex. So, and that's really because every time that fear and anxiety keeps playing in because we felt pain the first time. And our bodies have an amazing acute sense of memory for these experiences. And it doesn't sort of necessarily get better with time. For some women it does, and others, they're holding on to that. And fear will always create tension. We know this, right? Watch a scary movie and see how your muscles feel
afterwards. Yes.
So, yeah. So I think just creating a better awareness for these things and pelvic floor awareness after birth, before birth, having the ability to see a pelvic floor therapist in North America seems to be more of a privilege, less of a right. It's a little bit different in Europe, but I think the goal is that we make it more mainstream. Right.
Absolutely.
So even from an education point of view, the education is huge.
Yes.
So,
yes. So when we were talking earlier, you had said that like not only do a lot of women not even know what they're doing with their Kegels, but like that tensing afterwards when we're trying to help ourselves and we're actually just making it worse.
Yeah, that happens a lot because the message has been to Kegel. Just Kegel. Have you done your Kegels today? Do them 5 times a day. Just do them sitting, do them nursing, do them in the shower, do them when you're on the toilet, stop the flow of urine. I mean, these are very antiquated messages to women who, first of all, good chance you don't understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
That mind-body connection, especially after a trauma, very difficult. And then secondly, like any body part, we don't necessarily want to keep strengthening something that's tense because that's going to lead to different symptoms.
Right.
So sometimes those symptoms present as how often you feel you have to go pee.
Right.
That's called urge incontinence. And urge incontinence is like feeling like you are not going to get there, and the urge just becomes desperate. And really, it's just a lot of pelvic muscular tension that's pushing on your bladder. And your bladder is a muscle that then has a new sort of response timing. And that timing has to change. So, sometimes just relieving pelvic muscular tension is going to help with that.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's amazing because, I mean, when I did a home birth with Charlie, and no insult to my team, but like the only preparation I had for birth was her telling me to do Kegels while doing squats.
Yeah. Okay.
And oh my gosh, you want to talk about tension. Like,
yeah. No, for sure. And I mean, it's not, I mean, we can't, I don't think necessarily we can always fault the message. It's just an older approach.
It is. My midwife was wonderful. She saved my life. Like, I don't want to I'm talking
absolutely.
About that. Like, it's her education, what she's supposed to do.
Right, absolutely. Like Dr. Kegel is named after Dr. Arnold Kegel. This was an OBGYN in the 1940s.
Wow.
We are 80 years later. I think that medicine has progressed and research has progressed, and even the ability to have someone who specializes in the muscular component, the musculoskeletal component of this. OBGYNs, they are vastly educated to help us with our uteruses, our cervixes, cancer, the threat of sinister diseases. And that's, you can think of orthopedic surgeons. They go in, they fix shoulder rotator cuff, they fix knees, but the rehabilitation of muscles as a response to these surgeries is not necessarily their area. It doesn't have to be. That's not really, that's our role.
Yeah.
And so I think now we're getting better at handing over whose role is whose and the specialization of the training that's now needed.
Wow.
So
I'm so grateful for what you're doing. I'm so happy I found you.
Yeah. So
thank you for taking your time for this date. Like, can you kind of walk us through a little bit how the curve works?
Sure, absolutely. So this is the KR curve, okay? So it will come in this nice case that you can keep. I think for some women it's going to become, it also comes with a bag that women can just slip it into because it might just end up being that item in your underwear drawer. There's a couple of them maybe in there, okay? It does come with your instruction booklet, okay? We are going to be producing some videos in a short time on how to actually use it, okay? And then it is a premium pelvic wand. It was casted in surgical grade stainless steel so that it can, you can warm it up, you can sterilize it, you can also cool it down. So when we're talking about prenatal perineal massage, you want to warm this up under warm water, okay? It is dual-ended, okay? Especially for pregnant women, you do want to sort of graduate yourself to the larger end. It is still nowhere close to the 8 to 10 centimeter head, but we want to try and get you there, okay? So basically, it gives you that extra reach, okay? And you are going to basically just take this end, okay, to start with. You're going to come right down into the entrance of your vagina, okay, the bottom area. So if you think of your vagina as a clock face, the top is 12 o'clock. That is where your urethra sits, and that's where you pee from. It's going to be really uncomfortable because that pushes right up against your pubic symphysis, okay? And then you want to come down to that base, okay? So 6 o'clock is where you just, with a bunch of lube, whatever lube you want to use, it doesn't matter with this type of material which you prefer. And then you're going to basically just hook that into the base, and then you just start providing a little bit of stretch, okay? Perineal massage is not meant to be roses and flowers and comfortable, but it's not meant to be painful either. It's supposed to be a tolerated, graduated stretch, okay? So if you were stretching your hip flexors or your calves, at some point there's going to be that threshold between that really strong stretch and pain. You want to stay shy of that threshold, okay? But you can still build and raise that threshold with stretch, okay? Then you want to come out to 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. You're going to put maybe 15 to 20 seconds of stretch on either area, and then you maybe come back to the first area. You want to do this for about 5 minutes, okay? There's research to support that doing it every other day is beneficial. Doing it every day may not provide any more benefit. I am probably of the opinion that you don't want your pelvic floor to feel bruisey at any point, right? So if I did like a hot yoga on one day, the next day that might be too soon to return.
Right.
If I had built it up over time, I probably could withstand that, okay? The idea is you're just trying to familiarize yourself and your body as to some of the feelings you're going to experience in childbirth.
Okay.
Right? Because for new moms, you don't really have an idea until you kind of put that first bit of pressure. And as I'm finding with patients, I say, so this is what you want to feel. And the first thing they're like, oh, yeah, that's a lot. And I'm not putting a lot of pressure in there yet. So I'm not trying to fearmonger, but I'm trying to say, okay, that's your start. We got to build from there. Okay. So that's really important. And then you absolutely can use the other end once you're ready for it, okay? And then you've had your children, okay? 6 weeks needs to pass before you would use this again because after childbirth, uterus is like an open wound. We don't want to have any risk of infection. Even if you were to sterilize this, there's just no need. However, at 6 weeks, women are still swollen. They're still holding inflammation in that area. And you can try running this under cool water. Cold may be a little bit of a shock, okay? You could put it into the fridge, but again, that might be a little bit cold, okay? Cool water, fridge, whatever. Freezer is a no-go. I want you to think about putting your tongue to a metal pole. Don't do that. So, too cold. But then you can just put this at the entrance. You can insert it in a little bit and it becomes that soothing cold pack, okay? So an internal cold pack. What a revolutionary thing. And then as it warms up, you can just start doing a little bit of perineal massage again as well.
Okay.
Again, you're trying to ready that area for sexual intercourse after that 6-week mark so that your experience with your husband partner is not a negative one.
Is
right?
it horrible? Yeah.
Yeah, prep your perineal muscles for birth, prep it for after. It's not a bad idea. It's actually a great one.
Wow. This just blows my mind. Like, this is the first time, like, to be honest, even before, like, postpartum, when I was pregnant, nobody mentioned this to me at all.
No,
Not at all.
Yeah, and how old are your children?
So the twins are 4 and Charlie's a year old. He was a year old in December.
Okay, so yeah, and my child is 6 and 4, and I am a physio, and I had no idea about pelvic physio. None. Zilch. Hadn't even heard about it in my own industry.
It's just, wow. Like, in this day and age, it's not like we're in the antiquated times of not knowing germs and things, you know, like.
No, we're on the rise. I forget what the last number was. So I'm in Toronto, and our province versus state is Ontario, and I think there was about 1,500. I think that number is on the rise,
Okay.
but only 1,500. If I compared that to the total number of physios in the province, I don't like. There's no way we're more than 10%. So we're not enough. We're
That's
getting
not,
there,
this
but
blows my mind.
yeah.
Well, thank you for what you're doing. Is there anything, sorry, is there anything else you want to share with the wand or anything else for you today?
No, my idea for the pelvic wand is that this becomes the gift
Yes.
that you give at that baby shower, right? Like at wedding showers, there's always that one friend that gives you the like crazy lingerie,
Yeah.
and you're kind of embarrassed to open it, but
You
you're
want
like,
another one, honey?
I actually need this.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So baby showers, I want this to be the gift that women gift each other, because the veteran vaginas who've gone through it, you know better. You know
Yes.
that there is a better way, and I want women to start, giving the gift of an intact perineum to other mothers, right? And sort of say, you need this. You don't know about it yet, but you're going to need this. You're going to thank me later,
Yes.
right? So, yeah, I mean, we only launched about a month ago, so we're just getting going, but we have very big plans. We want to see these in baby stores,
Yes.
on baby gift registries, because
Yes.
it is a pelvic wellness product, right? And it needs to be more mainstream. This is not going to be found in sex stores. It might,
No.
you might get it there,
Yeah.
but it needs to be in baby stores,
Absolutely.
So that's our goal. And I don't think we're going to stop until it's a very mainstream product that women are like, yeah, I use that. Oh, yeah, I have one. Yeah, this is my lifestyle product. I'm going to use this. I'm going to check in with my pelvic floor in the shower every week, give it a little stretch. I mean, we give every other body part a stretch. There's no reason why this area has sort of become the mystery box, literally and figuratively. Yeah, we need to destigmatize this.
Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
No worries.
I'm so grateful.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me on, Robin. This has been really lovely.
Thank you so much for being here. And you guys, I'm going to save this video. Oh my goodness, it's trouble. And share this. You guys can watch this later. I'll put it up on my YouTube and I'll put it in my IGTV so you guys, if you missed it, you can watch it later. So
amazing. And you guys can find us on Kegel Release Curve, and you can just hit the link in our bio for the website. Absolutely.
Thank you, Kate.
No worries. Thanks so much, Robin.
Have a great day.